Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Intern. Today's episode will be a special one. This is my last time hosting this series. Likewise, my fellow interns here, they will all be graduating from their internship at Siemens soon. So today we have Amy, Brendan and Jynnice to share more about their out-of-office experiences over a literal fireside. Maybe y'all can do a short introduction before we begin.
Hey, yeah. Hi everyone, my name's Amy. I'm from SMU, currently doing an internship at Siemens as a strategy and marketing intern. And I've been an intern since August this year. So the internship is ending soon. Yeah.
Hi everyone, I'm Brendan. I'm a P&O intern since April this year. I'm currently in my second year at NUS majoring in political science.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jynnice. I'm currently a TA intern. I started in May and then currently on my last semester.
Alright, so Brendan, since you have been here the longest, let's start with you.
Sure.
So work aside, I've heard that you have been at this beach cleaning CSR event where you were badly bitten by mosquitoes.
Yeah, actually the experience was quite traumatic. I mean the mosquitoes, but the event was actually quite pleasant because I was only in the company for 2 weeks. Actually, I think it was 1 week. So I was invited. So I met Gary there for the first time, who's behind the camera. So I met, I think, Clement there for the first time as well. So it was a good opportunity to know the colleagues and know that the next time I have to wear long pants as well. Yeah.
Okay, let's be honest. Was it voluntary or were you arrowed to join?
I mean, Vafia invited me to join, but then since I'm new to the company, I wanted to know more about the culture, different company events. This is my first internship for the record, so I didn't know what to expect. So I want to take up as many opportunities as possible.
Okay. I also heard that the P&O department had a workshop at Malaysia earlier this year, and both of you were invited to go as well. So Jynnice, maybe you want to share more about it? Was it like your first work travel?
Yeah, definitely one of my first work travels. It was pretty fun. Everyone was very welcoming. It was really inclusive. Over there, we came up with different ideas on how to improve P&O as a whole department, and actually we came up with a few ideas as well. So everyone was very open, very receptive to it. So overall, it was a great experience. Yeah, for the both of us.
How was the costume-themed dinner party you guys had?
Amazing. Brendan won. Best dress.
As Batman.
Wow, okay. Definitely need to see some pictures of that.
Yeah, hit me up, you know.
So now let's chit-chat more about some interesting experience that you had during your time here at Siemens. Amy, maybe you want to get the ball rolling?
Yep. So in my internship at Siemens, one event really stands out to me as being really interesting, and that is the annual ITAP event that Siemens participates in.
Sorry, does ITAP stands for?
Industrial Transformation
Asia Pacific.
Yeah. That's a mouthful. Yeah.
That's why they call it ITAP, easier. Yeah, so as the name suggests it, the goal is to allow companies in the Asia Pacific region to start, scale and sustain their Industrial 4.0 processes and solutions. I was in charge of ensuring the smooth operations of 2 of the booths in this setup. And before the event, I was also in charge of collating and making the slides for these booths and also arranging the speakers and presenters for these booths. So I feel like being so intimately involved in this ITAP program was a very enriching experience for me because it allowed me to realize more on a more macro level how Siemens positions its services and its products against its competitors, because this huge event, it fills 2 to 3 expo halls. So I got to see how Siemens try to stand out and try to get clients. So from a strategy point of view, as a strategy intern, this is very enlightening. Yeah.
Wow, that's very interesting. I think Siemens do a lot of things, right? Because I personally have not heard about ITAP before. And as you said, to add on the beach cleanup, I don't think there is a specific event that particularly stands out for me. But one thing that happens every 2 months is what we P&O, People and Organization, conducts is the new hire networking session, which I believe three of you have been through that at one point in time. So what we do is we bring the new hires together at this location actually, where we share about P&O tips. We give them a brief run through on the company's culture, the different businesses, and then there is a Kahoot game at the end where they test their knowledge and they win some prizes. So that was really interesting because I got to be part of it for I think 4 batches.
Yeah. So as for me, other than traveling to Malaysia, another interesting thing would be I think the Standard Chartered run, which
You
I
mean
walked.
walk?
Yeah, I walked.
Thank
Yeah,
God we
so
clarified that.
it was my first time trying out 5 kilometers, so that was a really eye-opening experience. I got the chance to actually interact with people from other departments as well, which I think is really fulfilling. Get to know them, a little bit more about them, learn more about the other departments as well. But both of you ran, right? That was
I ran,
I limped.
limped.
It's not a good run now.
So maybe Joelle, what about you? How's your manager like?
My manager is actually behind the camera, so he's the best manager. Okay, but for reals, my team is really very nice and I feel very valued as a team member. I think a thing that stood out to me was how much freedom I had in content creation, which I didn't expect because in a big MNC there are branding guidelines and probably many layers of approval to go through. But yeah, I was given the opportunity to host this employer branding series and even for content for larger scale events like ITAP and Data Center World as well.
Oh, I agree with you because as a P&O intern, I also need to do some communication videos for my department. So as I said, for the new hire networking session, I had to kind of compile it together. So previously at one point it was a poster and then my managers were like, why not you try a video? And I'm like, why not? So I made like a quick recap of the whole, I think 3 batches. And it was posted on Yammer, so you guys can go and take a look if you have not, which you guys I think have not. Okay, so there goes my effort to the drain of fire. So apart from that, I also had to do some global P&O video where I had to coordinate with the different ASEAN teams so I had to brief them on how to film it and everything and then compile it together. So I was the one behind like the whole idea of it. So that was interesting.
And this opportunity was actually given to you because you expressed that you were interested in this kind of content creation, right?
I think I had some flair. My managers recognized that I had a creative kind of spirit, a fire in me. Now it's outside of me, but inside me they could feel the warmth, passion I have for creative endeavors. They just want to harness it, so why not, right? Yep.
Okay, moving on. We are all Gen Zs here, right? Let's talk more about Gen Z working in a corporate environment. Did you experience any boomer moments?
I think actually not really any boomer moments. Were there any?
I don't think, because boomer has like sort of a negative connotation towards it, right? It's not just old-fashioned, but more like they don't want to change. And I've not personally experienced it in my team. And to set the record straight, all my team members are quite young. I think below 50, below 48, maybe. Okay, yeah. So they are not boomers by any means, metric whatsoever. And I think, okay, if you want to talk about experience versus young, right? Because I believe that's like the question you're trying to get. I think personally for me, I had no HR knowledge prior to this. So I was very fortunate to get hired because I think they saw that I had a willingness to learn.
I thought you were gonna say you had a flair.
Also that. So I think the dynamics is very important because first of all, I learned from professionals who have been in the industry for so long. So they impart me about HR skills, onboarding, termination, basically everything. And what I had to think was how I can value add to whatever they're doing. So the creative part came because I don't think they had any flair to it. I mean, not they don't have any flair to it, but they wanted like a fresh outlook. So I had to kind of redesign the P&O SharePoint. So I think that's where you value add. They give you like the professional experience and then you give back something where they did not. So you guys kind of cover each other blind spots in a way to make a more efficient department.
Yeah. I also think that actually the talent acquisition team is pretty small, so all of us are pretty close to each other. We communicate with each other a lot, talk to each other a lot. So I don't think there is any boomer moments. I don't think so.
Are your bosses very old?
No, my bosses are not old.
Okay.
Yeah. I guess because I'm not in P&O, the people in my department are a bit older. So, I mean, I wouldn't say I experienced any boomer moments because they're all still very nimble-minded. Yeah. Yeah, youthful at heart, you could say. So, they're very open to any suggestions I have. And also because I'm in a strategy-related role, which Siemens is more of an industrial tech company. So I would have to work with a lot of my colleagues who are in a more tech side of things, the engineers, the data scientists, to ensure the information that I'm creating or compiling is correct. So I've never faced any trouble with them when I try to work with them on these projects. They're all very receptive. They respond very fast to my team's messages, which is another thing I would like to bring up. In Siemens, it's so easy to collaborate with people because you can just team someone you haven't even met before, and they will be more than happy to respond to you in quite a timely manner. So I find this culture within Siemens to be very positive, and yeah, it's something that really stands out for Siemens. Yeah. Yeah.
I experienced the same thing as well.
What about you, Joelle? You? Any boomer moments?
Nah, he's far from it. He actually sends me TikToks about fun video ideas. He uses slangs when we converse or like when we tease each other. Yeah.
Sharon is on the older side, I heard.
Sharon, she is, but she's still quite up to date. I think because she's in communications, so she has to be up to date on this.
I would say one thing is they're not very used to it when you say slay.
I've never tried it before.
Like sometimes like
Why would you say that in a professional context though?
I mean Teams chats are not that professional.
Oh, okay.
I mean like if something good happens, like the feedback comes back positive and I'm like slay.
You really say that?
Wow.
Oh my god.
How did they respond?
Like
Slay what?
They're like, huh? What are you kidding?
I've heard this being used in real life. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess if anything, that's the only boomer moment I've experienced.
Okay. How about corporate lingos? Are there any that you've heard and you cannot stand? No?
What's an example?
Okay, I'll give you some examples. So, double click on it, circle back, take this offline, set up a quick powwow, chicken and egg situation.
I have heard the chicken and egg one. Yeah.
I actually don't know what it stands for.
Okay, so think of a chicken. Where did the chicken come from?
An egg.
Where did the egg come from?
But how do you use it?
It's like, think of it as like a problem, right? That it keeps circulating back.
But you don't know what's
What's the originator of it, basically?
yeah. Like is it a vicious cycle
Yeah.
on itself? Like is the problem itself a problem, or is another thing causing the problem?
Philosophical question.
Okay. So, it sounds like it is not overused here at Siemens. So, okay, thank God. Okay, next, it's a topic that many are interested in, not just interns, maybe even students and adults. I'm going to talk about hiring processes. Since you guys are from P&O, are you involved in the hiring process? And are there any tips, insider tips that you would like to give?
I mean, Jynnice is directly responsible for the hiring process, so maybe she can give us some tips.
Yeah, so I help out in hiring for experienced hires as well as interns. So usually some tips maybe would be to, like Brendan, have the willingness to learn. I think that's the most important point actually. Yeah. Oh yeah.
People do that these days? Oh, sorry.
You are the
I thought it was a Gen Z thing, but like...
Gen Alpha thing. That's like my brother did.
How was it? What?
7 years younger than me.
Oh yes, my younger sister does it also.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so like Brendan, you can come in without any experience. Some hiring managers are definitely open with that as well. But definitely the hard one to learn, that's very important. Some tips for interviews could be to read up a little on Siemens, to have a better understanding of the company, definitely lah. Yeah. Other than that, then just be yourself. Yeah. Showcase your passion and what you actually like. Tell the hiring managers a little bit more about yourself, and I think that will be good enough.
Okay, because for me, I need to find a job in a few years. So I'm also curious on how to get hired, right? So I asked my TA colleagues, Elle, Clement, and Beatrice, on what are they looking for when they're hiring someone. So they basically just said that they're looking for work experience, and I'm like, what about your education, right? Do you guys care about whether you guys come from NUS, SMU, Harvard, or whatever, or do they care about your GPA or your major or whatsoever? And then they said, actually, not really, because it's work experience. So that was kind of a turning point for me, because I've always been school focused, right? So always stressed about wanting to get all A's, get a high GPA, first class honors to get a job, because that's what we usually think. For good education, good results equals to better job. But apparently that's not the case, so I'm kind of comforted that I'm not doing very well in school. So maybe I could still find a job in a few years. So yeah, that actually kind of pivot me to try more internships and to gain more working experience before I graduate, instead of fully putting all my eggs into academics. Yeah.
How about you, Amy? Are there any tips for people who wants to go into the business side?
Okay, I think I agree with what Brendan says. I hear from employers that I've asked that they care more about your work experience rather than your GPA per se. I would say that maybe GPA is still important if you want to go into certain industries like finance, investment banking, very competitive industry, or consulting. GPA might still eliminate you from the interview process at the first cut. So if you want to go into those fields, maybe don't neglect your GPA. But if you are going into more creative fields, maybe marketing, strategy, PR, things like that, I think they care more also about your portfolio, maybe. So I know UX, UI, graphic designers, and even some marketing roles, some applicants do their own portfolio using a website and it looks really nice and professional. And I think that's one thing that makes candidates stand out in a hiring process. So I guess that's the tip I have for people who are thinking about going to those fields that are a bit more creative. Do out a portfolio. If not, I think SMU has modules where you collaborate with external companies to execute a project for them. And I think if you are proud of what you did, that's another thing you can include on your resume. Instead of work experience, you can have another section that says projects, things you've completed that you're proud of. Yeah.
Okay, let's do a quick fact check with the TA expert here. Is whatever she's saying relevant?
It's definitely good to include in some of your projects to let them know what skills you have. Yeah, so I think actually that will be a good addition on top of your resume as well. Yeah.
And I think creating a portfolio isn't as daunting as it sounds, because there are easy and free website builders around, right?
Yeah. You could easily put in the projects that you have done in school as well. Yeah, not necessarily just in your internship.
So Joelle, you're graduating this year, right? Do you have a portfolio yourself? Next year. Do you have a portfolio running?
Yeah, I actually use Wix website. I don't know if you guys know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but I put my resume on it. I put some works that I've done in Siemens, my past internships. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's time to start.
I mean, if you want to be in a creative field.
Yeah.
If you're not in a creative
Yeah, I
field,
think it
Been
doesn't
listening,
matter.
I've got a creative fire in me. You know?
that's true. That's true.
Okay.
You never know.
I'll check out your portfolio.
Send me the link.
Okay, so what's next for all of you guys? Are you going back to school or graduating soon?
I have 2 more semesters left, so I guess about a year till official graduation. So I'm stressed about finding a job too, because the economy is not doing great right now. So yeah.
Doing an exchange semester in January, and then after that I still have 2 more years. So I still have time to build up my portfolio, hopefully get a good job. Hopefully the economy is better also. Yeah.
So for me, I finished my last paper ever. Yeah, so after this, woo! Yeah, so after this, yeah, I'm currently looking for a job now. Starting my search already. It's been slow, like what Amy said, the economy is bad. Not a lot of job opportunities right now, but moving slowly lah. So hopefully I can find a job soon.
Are there conversion opportunities at Siemens?
Yeah, definitely there would be conversion opportunities at Siemens, but this definitely depends on each team whether they have an extra headcount or not. For us, nope.
I guess that's not slay.
No. Does that work?
Unslay. So you slay like that, you slay like that. So this unslay. Unslay. Stitch it back.
How will you sum up your experience, and would you recommend an internship at Siemens to anyone else?
Yeah, personally, I would highly recommend an internship at Siemens. It's one of the best internship experiences that I've had. I really do love the culture. It's very collaborative. They give you a lot of freedom to do what you think is appropriate. They don't try to restrict you like some other companies would. And yeah, I find that to be a very positive aspect of Siemens.
So this is my first internship experience, so I don't have any company to benchmark upon, right? So, but I think I would really recommend this to anyone. I mean, it's dependent on your team culture, but as a company, I can say safely that we are great.
Wait a minute!
We are great. It's not great. In terms of flexibility, I think I want to expand a little bit more about the work arrangement. So we practice work from home culture. I know a lot of companies out there, they say this, you have to come back to office, or sometimes they publicize that, oh, it's actually work from home, but then in the end you go to a company and then you have to come to office 5 days a week. I mean, that's definitely something that's happening. But I can say safely that we don't practice that. We say that there's only one team day, so you come to office one day with all the colleagues. And even on the days where it's supposed to be a working day, but if you have something emergency or anything that crops up, you can tell your manager that, hey, I need to do this, so you can safely get out of it and then kind of compensate it afterwards. So it's really, really flexible. That's what I want to say.
You have been working here for 8 months, right? So do you take like a leave of absence, or were you studying while working?
So an interesting story is, even before I stepped foot into the company, I was making all sorts of requests, demands to my managers, because I was accepted into a leadership program from school where I had to be gone for 6 weeks. And 6 weeks in a 6 months internship is a very long time. And my manager surprisingly said, okay, go for it. So I took unpaid leave, and then it happened. So that was a super green flag moment for me, because I'm sure we have all heard of horror stories of internship where the managers were mean, or I think recently in the news there was this manager who physically abused their intern. I'm not sure you have seen that. Yeah, it was not slay at all, man. Yeah, I mean the manager almost slayed him, you know, in the literal sense. But think about it, I've not been to the company, they have not met me personally yet, because the interview was online, right? And they said yes. I mean, if you want to talk about flexibility, if you want to talk about openness, that is the definition for me, and I think for everyone. If your managers were so open to letting you go for your professional, your self-development. Yep.
And then I think both of you are doing a full-time internship now, right?
Yeah.
So for me and Brendan, actually, we did full-time during our holidays, during the summer breaks, and then we did part-time after that during school. So that is something that is possible here at Siemens, a mix of part-time and full-time, to let us continue with our studies as well without taking an LOA, which I think is something really good and provides a little bit more flexibility for students who wants to do an internship but not want to hinder their studies as well. Yeah. So if anybody is interested in any opportunities at Siemens, please feel free to apply.
How was your experience like actually juggling school and work? Was it very hectic for you?
Actually, I think it was pretty okay for me. My managers are pretty understanding, especially on the days where I have school. Usually they would just try not to reach me at all, so that I'll be able to just focus my whole day in school, which I think is really good lah. Yeah. So on top of that, if there are any like tests or exams, usually they will try to not give us so much work during that period as well. And then they'll do regular checks in with us on how our workload is actually. So I think it's great. It's really supportive and collaborative here. Yeah.
I think I experienced the same thing as well, because some days where really no choice, school or exam falls on a working day, like it's just so sway, right? But then if you talk nicely to a manager, plan beforehand, and they say, yeah, sure, why not? And then you compensate with another working day. I mean, it's not written down on paper or what, but it's based on mutual trust and respect. You tell them in advance, and then they accommodate. So I think that's the great part about it, working in Siemens. Yeah.
Okay, so before we close off today's session, any final words of advice to aspiring interns?
YOLO. You only live once. So just try your best. Apply. What are you waiting for? Do it now. Just for reals. Is that also a Gen Z thing? For reals?
Yeah.
Are you not Gen Z?
For reals? People say that?
For real. Yeah.
For real?
For real. Wait, do you really not know? Do you not use it?
For real? Why won't you just say like really?
Gen Z ma?
Oh, okay.
When we text for reals, it even becomes FR.
Yeah.
I think I have to do some self-reflection.
Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you everyone for joining us in this episode, and stay tuned for more exciting episodes with a new incoming host.